Daf Yomi, page 56b, top of the page. And it's with the word pshita. It's continuing from the previous statement, which said that if bandits took the sheep out, the bandits are liable. And then top of 56b, pshita, this is obvious. That once they remove the animal, it's now the custody for all purposes, including responsibility for any ensuing damages. Okay, so it says lo tzricha. More answers no. This statement is necessary in a case where they stood before the animal and encouraged it to leave the enclosure, but did not lead it out directly. This case is like the case in the statement that Rav says that Rav Matana says that Rav says, with regard to one who stands another's animal near a third person standing grain, and the animal eats the grain, he is liable. The Gemara asks, if he stands the animal there, isn't it obvious that he is liable? The Gemara answers no. This ruling is necessary in a case where one stood before the animal and encouraged it to go toward the grain without actually leading it, and he is nevertheless liable. Abai said to Rav Yosef, you told us, when explaining the statement of Rav Matana in the name of Rav, that it is referring to a case where he hit the animal with a stick, and similarly the Mishnah can also be explained as referring to a case where the bandits hit it with a stick and did not lead it. The Mishnah teaches that if the owner conveyed the animal to a shepherd to care for it, the shepherd enters in its place and is responsible for all damage. The sages say in clarification, the shepherd enters in place of whom? If we say that the shepherd is in place of the owner of the animal, didn't we already learn on one occasion in the Mishnah in 44b, if the owner conveyed his animal to an unpaid bailee, or to a borrower, or to a paid bailee, or to a renter, they all enter into the responsibilities and liabilities in place of the owner. What novelty is there in stating that the responsibility now lies with the shepherd to whom the owner conveyed the animal? Rather, it means that the shepherd enters in a place of a bailee to whom the owner conveyed the animal, who is no longer liable once he conveys the animal to the shepherd. The Gemara asks, if so, this Mishnah indicates that the first bailee exempts himself completely by conveying the sheep to a shepherd, the second bailee, and he bears no further responsibility. Shall we say that Mishnah is a conclusive refutation of the ruling of Rava? As Rava says, a bailee who conveyed the deposit to another bailee nevertheless remains liable. The Gemara answers, Rava could say to you in response, what does the Mishnah mean when it states he conveyed it to a shepherd? It is referring to a shepherd who conveyed the animal to the shepherd's assistant, as it is the typical manner of a shepherd to convey animals in his charge to his assistant. Therefore, anyone who gives his animal to a shepherd understands that the shepherd's assistant may also care for the animal, and it is not a violation of the terms of his assignment for the shepherd to convey it to his assistant. Consequently, the Mishnah does not refute Rava's opinion. There are those who say the same answer in a similar manner from the fact that the Mishnah teaches the case using the expression, he conveyed it to a shepherd, and does not teach it using the less specific expression, he conveyed it to another, conclude from it that what it means by he conveyed it to a shepherd is that the shepherd conveyed it to his assistant, as it is the typical manner of a shepherd to convey an animal to his assistant. But if the shepherd conveyed it to another to care for it in his place, the Mishnah does not rule that the other person enters in his place. The Gemara suggests, let us say, that the wording of the Mishnah therefore supports Rava's opinion. As Rava says, a bailee who conveyed the deposit to another bailee remains liable. The sages say, in rejection of that suggestion, no, one can infer from the wording of the Mishnah that it is referring specifically to a shepherd conveying the animal to his assistant, since perhaps it teaches the matter in which it typically occurs. But the same is true even if the shepherd conveyed the animal to another. Therefore, no support can be brought from here for Rava's opinion. It was stated that there is a dispute between Amoraim concerning the following issue. With regard to one who is safeguarding a lost item that he has not yet returned, what level of responsibility does he bear? Rava said he is considered to be like an unpaid bailee, whereas Rav Yosef said he is considered to be like a paid bailee. Their respective opinions are explained. Rava said that he is considered to be like an unpaid bailee because what benefit comes to him through safeguarding it? Therefore, he is just like any unpaid bailee. Rav Yosef said that he is considered to be like a paid bailee on account of the benefit that he is not required to give bread to a poor person while looking after the lost item, since one who is engaged in a mitzvah is exempt from performing another. Consequently, since there is some benefit involved in looking after the lost item, he is considered to be like a paid bailee. This is one interpretation, whereas there are those who explain like this. Rav Yosef said that he is considered to be like a paid bailee. Once the merciful one obligates him against his will to look after lost items, the Torah presumably imposes the high standard of safeguarding on him. Therefore, he is considered to be like a paid bailee. And the Gemara presents a mnemonic device for the halachot and difficulties to be discussed, which is Hachazira Liolam Hashev Chia Amarta Nishbar Sachar, which is he returned it, always returned. Chia, you say, breaks and payment. Rav Yosef raised an objection to the opinion of Rabbah from that which is taught in a Braita.